Are we on the brink of World War III? The question seems unthinkable, but it's one that's been echoing around the globe as tensions escalate in several key regions. We're witnessing a volatile dance of power plays, veiled threats, and military maneuvers that have many on edge. Let's start with Afghanistan. The departure of American troops has left a vacuum that the Taliban is eager to fill, sparking concerns of a resurgence in terrorism. The former Secretary of Defense, Leon Panetta, stresses the importance of preventing Afghanistan from becoming a safe haven for terrorists again. He acknowledges the successes and losses of the US in Afghanistan over the past 20 years, and cautions us to learn from the lessons of this war to avoid another catastrophic event like 9/11's. Then there's Russia and Ukraine, a conflict that former White House Russia advisor Fiona Hill warns is already shaping up to be World War III. The West, she says, is already engaged in this war with Russia, but we've failed to recognize it. The escalating tensions, Putin's veiled threats about nuclear weapons, and the Kremlin's staged referendums in eastern and southern Ukraine all point to a wider conflict that could drag in other nations. The Middle East, always a hotbed of conflict, adds to the growing tension. Iranian-backed militias attacking US bases in Iraq and Syria, the war between Israel and Hamas threatening to draw in regional allies. These are not isolated incidents. They're part of a larger pattern that could potentially spiral into a wider global conflict. Meanwhile, we can't ignore the tensions between the US and China, which have been brewing over the past few years. Despite attempts to re-establish communication and reach consensus on trade, technology, and global security, the core issues between the two countries aren't getting any easier, and of course there's North Korea. After talks with then US President Donald Trump broke down in 2019 over disagreements about international sanctions on Pyongyang, Kim Jong-un has focused on modernizing his nuclear and missile arsenals, raising the stakes even higher. These events have sparked a global conversation about the possibility of another world war. The world watches, waits, and wonders. Are we indeed on the brink of World War III? Let's delve deeper into the events that are fueling these fears. The geopolitical landscape is a complex web of power struggles, alliances, and conflicts. The tremors of these conflicts can be felt across the globe, and they are the reason why the possibility of World War III is being discussed with more frequency and seriousness. In Eastern Europe, Russia's invasion of Ukraine has been labeled as the most dangerous event Europe has seen since the end of World War II. The conflict has not only destabilized the region but also strained Russia's relations with NATO and the West, leading to fears of a wider conflict. Across the Pacific, the relationship between the United States and China has been tense for years. A recent meeting between their leaders aimed to thaw relations and find common ground on trade, technology, and global security. However, core disagreements remain, and the potential for conflict can't be dismissed. In the Far East, North Korea's nuclear ambitions have kept the world on its toes. Since the breakdown of talks with the United States in 2019, North Korea has focused on modernizing its nuclear and missile arsenals. This has increased the risk of a nuclear conflict, which could have catastrophic global consequences. The Middle East, a region infamous for its volatility, isn't faring any better. The conflict in Gaza, attacks by Iran-backed militias, and the Israel-Hamas war have further destabilized the region. The potential for these conflicts to draw in regional allies and escalate into a wider global conflict is a very real concern. In addition to these flashpoints, leaked documents suggest that world leaders are preparing for Russia to launch World War III. These preparations, coupled with the aforementioned tensions, paint a grim picture of the state of world affairs. These are the sparks that could ignite the flame of World War III. What would be the global impact of World War III? Let's delve into that question. The potential consequences of a global conflict are far-reaching and multifaceted, impacting not only the nations directly involved, but the entire world. Imagine the economic fallout. The global economy, intricately linked and interdependent, would suffer dramatically. Trade routes could be disrupted, markets could crash, and the cost of life's necessities could skyrocket. The world saw this during the Great Depression following World War I, and again in the aftermath of World War II. Economists warned that a third world war could plunge the world into an economic abyss from which recovery would be slow and painful. Then there's the humanitarian aspect. The displacement of people during war is a harsh reality. Millions could be forced to leave their homes, creating a refugee crisis that would strain resources worldwide. We've witnessed this in recent times with the Syrian civil war, and it would be exponentially worse in a global conflict. The environmental impact is another grave concern. Wars often leave scars on the earth that take decades to heal. From the deforestation in Vietnam to the nuclear fallout in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the environmental damage from a world war could be irreparable. In terms of global politics, the world order as we know it could be completely upended. New alliances might form, old ones could crumble, and the balance of power could shift dramatically. Similar shifts occurred after both previous world wars, and experts suggest a third could result in an even more drastic realignment. And let's not forget about the potential loss of life. The sheer scale of human suffering and death would be unimaginable, far surpassing any previous conflict. This unimaginable loss would touch every corner of the globe, leaving no one unaffected. The potential for technological warfare also looms large. In the age of cyber warfare and artificial intelligence, the battleground extends beyond physical territories. A global cyber attack could cripple infrastructure, disrupt communication, and plunge entire nations into darkness. The impact of World War III would be catastrophic, affecting every corner of the globe. Now, more than ever, it's crucial to understand these potential impacts and work towards maintaining peace and stability in our world. How would World War III affect everyday people like you and me? Let's delve into this question. Imagine a world where the threat of nuclear warfare hangs over us like a shroud. Daily life as we know it would be disrupted on a scale that's hard to comprehend. The potential for unprecedented destruction and loss of life is chilling to think about. But it's not just about the physical devastation. The psychological toll would be immense. The fear, uncertainty, and stress of living in a world on the brink of war could lead to widespread mental health issues. The economic impact would also be significant. We could see a massive disruption to global trade, leading to shortages of goods and skyrocketing prices. This would hit the pocketbook of everyday people, making it harder to afford basic necessities and leading to a lower quality of life. And then there's the potential displacement of people. War often results in millions of refugees fleeing their homes in search of safety. These people, many of them civilians, would face incredible hardships. In such times, preparation and awareness become crucial. It's essential to know what to do in a crisis, how to protect yourself and your loved ones, and where to go for help. Being informed about the global geopolitical situation can also help. Understanding the reasons behind the conflicts, the players involved, and the potential outcomes can help you make sense of what's happening and perhaps mitigate some of the fear and anxiety. But it's not all doom and gloom. Such a crisis could also bring out the best in humanity. We could see people coming together, helping each other and working towards peace. We've seen it happen in past crises, and there's no reason it couldn't happen again. The possibility of World War III is a sobering reminder of the need for peace and diplomacy. It underscores the importance of working towards a world where conflicts are resolved not through violence, but through dialogue and understanding. Because ultimately it's the everyday people, the civilians, who bear the brunt of war. What signs are pointing towards the likelihood of a World War III breakout? Let's dive into the indicators that hint at a potential global conflict. First, we see escalating tensions across the globe. The Russian invasion of Ukraine, the simmering conflict between China and the US, and the ongoing issues with North Korea all contribute to a global atmosphere of unease and tension. Secondly, we witness military buildups. Russia's consolidation of control in the Donbas region, and enlistment of civilians and reservists into the military, the US and UK's preparation for an armed response to attacks in the Red Sea, and North Korea's focus on modernizing its nuclear and missile arsenals are all clear signs of preparation for potential conflict. Finally, the rhetoric used by world leaders is becoming increasingly warlike. Statements from Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz and former White House advisor Fiona Hill, along with leaked documents suggesting world leaders are preparing for a major conflict, all add fuel to the fire. These signs suggest that the threat of World War III is more than just a possibility. World War III is a scenario that no one wants to contemplate, yet it's one we've navigated through in this conversation. The escalating tensions, the political maneuvers, the global conflicts, and their potential impacts have all been laid bare. We've seen how the actions of nations like Russia, China, and North Korea could potentially tip the balance, pushing us towards a devastating global conflict. We've also taken a closer look at the impact such a war would have on the civilian population, a perspective often overlooked in the grand scheme of geopolitical machinations. We've discussed the signs pointing to the possibility of World War III, The leaked documents, the heightened military activity, the diplomatic breakdowns. These are not to instill fear, but to raise awareness and understanding. Yet amidst all this, the importance of diplomacy, of dialogue, of peacekeeping efforts, cannot be overstated. It is through these channels that we can hope to avert such a catastrophic event. The lessons from past wars must guide our actions today and in the future. While the prospect of World War III is a frightening one, it is a possibility that we must be prepared to confront. But let's not forget, the power to shape our world lies equally, if not more so, in the hands of peace as it does in those of war. Did you learn something new today? Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more insightful videos. We appreciate your support and we'll see you in the next one.